Yeah.
smash burgers.
916-339-1140. Here is the quote that had some people talking. And look, would this be talked about if this was the middle of the season or whatever the case is, if we had a bunch of other rumors kind of floating around? No, but that's not where we're at right now. And as the Kuminga stuff kind of starts to cool off, or it's pretty cooled off now, right? I think it cooled off second half of last week. This is what Domantas Sabonis is saying, which I think is kind of confusing some people. This is what he had to say in that kind of media scrum that we played a couple segments ago. A lot has changed. That's the quote. A lot has changed. A lot's probably still going to change. So we're just going to have to wait and see till training camp. That's Domantas Sabonis. People, it is August 11th. It's August 11th. I'm just not really sure what else could change. I mean, each day that passes, you start to wonder what's the move that could be made. Specifically because in this day and age, there's always a lot of rumors, right? And the only thing that we have really gathered is that the Kings may have been one of the teams, outside of the Kuminga stuff and the Westbrook stuff, is that the Kings may have been one of the teams to check in on Josh Giddey, right? May or may not have been one of those teams, as Jake Fisher mentioned the Warriors, but did not mention anybody else by name. The Westbrook conversation that keeps coming up that we just talked about, and how this math equation of minutes is not adding up right now. Does Domantas Sabonis know, or as he has said in the past in that exit interview, he wants to be looped in on this stuff? Does Domantas Sabonis know something that we don't know, right? Is there something else being worked on? Is Malik Monk, again, this is not a Malik Monk thing, but is Malik Monk still being shopped around the league? Where you figure at this point, August 11th, they've been shopping the brother since the end of the finals happened. So I don't know what could have happened. There have been no random injuries in the offseason at any of these runs or anything like that. I'm not sure how something could change, but it's a pretty big statement to say if you're Domantas Sabonis, right? And we know we talked about at the buzzer, the Julius Randle, Karl Anthony Towns thing. We're still in this dead period. And the wonder is, will there be one more stretch, or is this just where we're at right now? Is this how we're going to go into the season? Is there going to be one more thing? This Giannis conversation, the Jonathan Kuminga, is he going to swap with the Bulls, something like that, for Josh Giddey with the Warriors? What else could actually happen at this point in time? Because why would Domantas Sabonis say that? I think that's the best way to approach this. Why would he say that? It would have been much easier for him to say, I like the moves that we've made. Feels like we're in a good spot. Excited to get into training camp, right? What else could change at this point? We're dang near halfway through August.
I mean, there's still the one big Kuminga thing that's just hanging over it. And obviously we mentioned Russell Westbrook earlier, which we feel like is tied to Kuminga at this point. But as we've been talking about for the last week or so, I think this Kuminga thing is going to go all the way until October 1st, which is the deadline for when he has to accept or decline the qualifying offer, which means I think we're going to be in this limbo until either A, the Warriors decide they don't want to be in limbo anymore, or B, they come to some sort of agreement on a revised contract, which right now it seems like neither the Warriors nor Kuminga really has the appetite for. So normally I would agree with you, but it seems like the Kings are actually the team that is waiting in limbo to see if Kuminga is going to create enough leverage to force the Warriors to make that trade with the Kings.
And I want to say for the record, because everyone keeps getting upset at me, and it's almost like saying Voldemort at this point in time. You say Kuminga, some people get upset. I don't think it's a lot of you, though, to be honest, because I think a lot of you understand that this is what's happening, right? If there were other moves, it's Kuminga and Westbrook. That is what the summer is right now. when we didn't know who the Kings were going to have at point guard, we talked about the Tyus Joneses, the Trey all the Joneses. We talked about Dennis Schroeder. And funny enough, people didn't want to talk about Dennis Schroeder because people didn't want Dennis Schroeder. So you know what the Kings did? They went and got Dennis Schroeder. But right now, this is where we're at with the Kings. Okay? And as I'm pulling up this article from the 4-Letter Network, and this is my guy Anthony Slater. This is a breakdown they have NBA free agents 2025, where things stand with the 7 biggest names, and that's also where Tim McMahon hopped in and talked about the Kings. So the Kings are kind of all over this stuff because you got Ben Simmons, Al Horford, Cam Thomas, who we're going to talk about Cam Thomas, Josh Giddey, Quentin Grimes, who I haven't heard about. Quentin Grimes is just existing. What y'all going to do? When y'all do something, I'll do something.
Yeah, that is a qualifying offer on the way.
If Josh Giddey is getting an offer of 20 mil, Quentin Grimes, what do you wait? If you just want to be a part of the crew?
I think Quentin Grimes' issue is he's like, I want a 3-year deal at $15 million a year, and the Sixers are like, from who?
Yeah. So Anthony Slater had this to say about the Kuminga situation. So there's 7 free agents that they're breaking down, and the reason it's cooled down, people, is because nothing has changed. This is the quote. So everything sits in the same spot it did 10 days ago. The Warriors have not upped their offer, and Kuminga has indicated to those close to him that the $7.9 million qualifying offer is more appealing to him than the Warriors' current pitch. Something has to give before the October 1st deadline. Kyle, what happens first? You know where I'm going with this.
I think I do, but I want to hear it first.
Kuminga resolution or agent number 2's arrival?
Oh, agent number 2. I was joking with Whitey. The baseball season ends on September 29th. Do we think the baseball regular season is going to end before the Kuminga? Like, Kuminga's leverage at this point is A, the qualifying offer, and B, to drag this thing all the way out till the very end.
Well, it's two sides saying, I don't actually believe you.
Here's a question for you. Will you be back from baby number, or what do we call it, agent number 2?
Yeah.
Which, again, sounds weird. Also, it's weird because you have cats. So, like, when you say Agent 1 and Agent 2, I'm like, is he talking about the cats or the children?
No,
like,
the children.
You know, you rank them all the same.
Well, they are getting ranked.
Yeah.
They're getting ranked right now.
Yeah. Anyways, so I think that there is no way, like, at this point, Kuminga's thrown his best, or his agent, I guess we should say, has thrown their best punch, which is just to leak all of it to Shams and Anthony Slater and put all the details out there. Warriors aren't budging. There hasn't seemed to be any kind of contract negotiation between the two in a while. Kuminga's in Miami right now, which is apparently where he spends his off seasons.
Nice.
So,
see, that's how it should be done. If I was in the NBA and I was 22, you can find me in Miami. Yeah.
So, that was in the whole Slater piece. I know you read the money quote, but he's like, just made a trip to the Democratic Republic of the Congo and just returned to Miami, where he is working out this offseason.
There you go.
But anyways, he's in Miami. The Warriors haven't come to the table to negotiate anything new because they don't really have to, right? They can kind of see that they don't have to do anything until the end of this window, and I guess they're comfortable with making Al Horford and DeAnthony Melton and GP2 and Steph Curry's brother have to wait to sign their contracts. So I guess we're just going to drag this thing out for another 6 weeks, which, hey, good for content, but also, like Anthony Slater said, nothing really is changing.
No, nothing is changing. It's all kind of rehashing itself over and over again in different ways. And it's a little difficult to really nail down where this thing or how this thing is going to end. But again, the reason, and the Kings do not get mentioned, I don't believe, in the article as far as what Anthony Slater had to say. But it was just, I'm not going to say it was weird. It was just interesting. It was just interesting that that's what Domantas Sabonis said, because we know that there are a couple dominoes that would have to fall in order for another move to happen. You know, he's played with Malik Monk longer, but obviously outside of basketball, Domantas Sabonis and Jonas Valanciunas are good friends, right? So Domantas Sabonis, and what makes it hard to read him is that he just keeps it pushing. Now, he gave us more information this go round, but you're not really going to see Domantas Sabonis give a bunch of emotion in a presser, right? The DeMar DeRozan presser at the end of the season where he's talking about how he doesn't know how many seasons he has left, and DeMar DeRozan in general, just a completely different interviewer than Domantas Sabonis. So with that being said, what do you have to say about Jonas Valanciunas? Hey, I wish it would have worked. It was nice playing with him. I wish it would have worked out. As far as Malik Monk is concerned, I think that Domantas Sabonis has liked playing with Malik Monk, and he had initially mentioned, hey, it's about time when he got into the starting lineup. But I do think that Domantas Sabonis is very business focused, and if he thinks it's better for business and better for the team to move somebody, then I think he would give it his blessing. There's no situation on the Kings where it's anything close to Steph Curry, Draymond Green. Hey, we're just going to ride this thing out instead of moving on from Draymond. There's nothing like that, right? And we saw that when De'Aaron Fox, who, look, somebody always, whenever I bring up how De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk may have not been that close, somebody always brings up, well, they were in each other's wedding, or he was in De'Aaron Fox's wedding. Okay, that's fair enough. At the same time, things can change after weddings, right? That's also real. That's also a real thing too. Who else change after weddings? You know
who else was the best man was Bam Adebayo.
Right.
Not Malik Monk.
No.
The other Kentucky teammate who was on that team.
Now we got to break down how many players or how many groomsmen did De'Aaron have? Because there's different groomsmen situations, right? If I've been in weddings where they've had 10 groomsmen. So I am not that close to that guy, but he had 10 groomsmen.
Yeah, I also saw everyone's posting photos from Alex Caruso's wedding this weekend. Yeah. He had like 500 people there. Anyone got an invite. If you played at any point with Alex Caruso, you got an invite to that wedding.
Look, if somebody who is in the midst of their kind of wedding stretch, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's one thing to be in the wedding if we're really going to do this, but if there was 10 dudes in the wedding, 10 groomsmen, where was he standing? Okay? Because I was about number 8, 9, or 10 in a wedding. I was in the wedding, but I was I was not standing close to the groom.
Can we also just say, by the way, 6 maximum? I wanted to say 5, but some people have big families.
Do what you got to do. You got the brothers, get the brothers or the sisters, they throw everything off because they get automatic spots, and then it gets a little squirrely.
That's what I'm saying. Flexibility for larger families. And, if your brother's going to be in it, their partner has to also be in the wedding. So it's I get that. But 6 groomsmen, 6 bridesmaids.
It's your money. Have as many groomsmen or bridesmaids as you want.
If you got more than 6 siblings, then
I'm just saying that I'm not having some fun with it, obviously. But that type of stuff. Well, they were in each other's wedding. Okay. That has not. What does that have to do with 2020? Where they're at in 2025, and De'Aaron's thought process leaving the team, and Malik Monk's thought process when he decided to stay on the team, which has been reported from Brendan Nunes in numerous places. Malik was not choosing between 5 teams. He was kind of choosing between 2, and I believe it's essentially been reported or talked about, rumored, that the Kings offer was better than the Pistons offer. So with all that being said, Domantas Sabonis is prepared, I believe, to do whatever is necessary to get this team to the next level, right? If it's choosing between, do I want to talk and do the whole are we in a good spot thing and possibly go to a different city and uproot my family? No, I'd rather just clean house however we have to clean house here. And I understand Scott Perry didn't make the Devin Carter pick. How do you think De'Aaron Fox, and this is the weird thing about Devin Carter, and the pick, I should say, not Devin Carter, the person or player, but how do you think, and I understand they may not feel as if the 13th pick is going to save them, but it could have. How do you think Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox felt when we're all sitting there watching, De'Aaron probably wasn't even watching the draft, knowing him, but when we all heard the words Devin Carter, a team that is trying to get over the top, maybe this player isn't going to help you immediately, but how do you think a Domantas Sabonis felt or a De'Aaron Fox felt when they got up there and Adam Silver said Devin Carter? They probably were thinking, as far as their relationship with Monty McNair, what the hell are we trying to do here?
Well, I don't think they reacted the same way as you, where you stormed out of the restaurant and Nate was chasing you like a WWE wrestler. I'm sure they didn't react quite like that.
You never know. You never know. Because that was a decision that was made, and now you're still seeing the effects of that. To this day, you're seeing the effects of that. When people say, oh, we got to move on, we can't move on until the moves that were made have essentially cleared out. Because now, a year later, as the Kings want to add on a Russell Westbrook, I still think that Devin Carter not being on team shouldn't really affect whether you add Russell Westbrook or not. But as far as optics and trying to get something back for a Devin Carter, it does affect it. Trying to get something back that you actually need, it does affect it. When you're getting roasted because you have 8,002 guards, it does affect it. So what does Domantas Sabonis know? What does he know about the possible moves that the Kings can make? Are they in a position to where somebody is heating up with Malik Monk? Are they in a position to where it could be somebody random, right? Maybe somebody at the buzzer says, I do like DeMar DeRozan. But in all of the different situations and opportunities for you to just take the easy way out, and Domantas Sabonis, as an elite ball player, we understand all of that. But when it comes to his media availability, he is typically one to take the easy way out. The first time I saw him not take the easy way out, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I've been covering the team, was in the exit presser where he said he wants to be a part of these conversations. He talked about we need a point guard. That was the first time I saw him be as direct as he was. Now, amongst this camp that he did, this kids camp that he did, he's answering these questions, right, during the camp, after the camp, whenever it was. A perfect opportunity to just take the easy way out and just say, I like the team. I like where we're going. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. He didn't do that. He did not do that. He said a lot has changed and lots probably still gonna change. So we're gonna wait and see what happens to a training camp. The easiest opportunity to take the easy way out. So I don't know if he knows anything. I do not know. What I do know is that Domantas Sabonis is not known for sound bites that make you go, And in that moment, for whatever reason, he decided that that's the route that he wanted to take. I will openly admit that I am overanalyzing this thing. I will openly admit that. So you don't have to tell me I know I am. But we've played so many Domantas Sabonis clips throughout the years here. And he tends to be pretty crafty. And he tends to plan out and have an idea of what he wants to say. And that's what he did in that moment at that camp. Does it mean anything? We're going to find out. When we return, this is going to be a fun one. What do the Kings and River Cats have in common? We'll talk about it on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino.